Today we're checking back in with Terra's Luna coin, performing some technical analysis and making some predictions on where we can expect to see Luna go in the near future. Let's get into it. Welcome back into the Luna chart, guys. If you're looking to buy Luna or want some free Bitcoin, there are a couple of links down in the description of today's video. Now, unfortunately, as we all know, Bitcoin crashed, and from a technical perspective, that messes everything up. So this nice little channel we had going here continued for a brief period, but then unfortunately failed on the 6th of April. We fell out of it in a big way and also fell through key points of support, $106, and of course over here at $90 as well. Currently we are sitting at $88.47, but we did on the 11th of April get to a low of $80.50. So right now we can immediately remove our previous channel. That is no longer in play, and the key target for us at this point in time is of course the $90 mark. That is now once again in our sights, and we are getting very close to it. The, I suppose, trend over the past few days is indicating we may see a test of it today, if not tomorrow. So that is really what we're looking out for, and if we're able to break through it, or if we bounce off it and start moving downwards, will really determine our direction moving forward. Now, there are a few key things that have happened since this dip. I mentioned we dropped through our two key levels of support. But secondly, we also dropped through our two moving averages, our 20-day, which is now sitting at 100, and our 50-day, which is now sitting at 92. These are going to pose as decent points of resistance now moving forward, and breaching these would be very, very beneficial for us in the medium to short term. At least it's looking like the 50-day is in our sights more closely, but if we're not able to get through that, we risk seeing this 20-day moving average start to move downwards given the price action that's occurred, and we have a death cross occur. That is not something we want to see. So ideally, we're aiming within the next week or two to see our price get back above the $92 mark at the moment. Well, it could be a bit higher, and in fact I think it will be, but the 50-day moving average, it needs to be above that. I'd be expecting that we see a test only, of course, if we breach our $90 mark here. So that is all important. More importantly though, our long-term uptrend is still intact. It's still going, so there's nothing to worry about there. And it's sitting basically right now next to our 200-day moving average at $66. The beauty, I suppose, of the current pullback we have seen is we dropped to levels of where we saw previous all-time highs. That is showing us that we are now starting to have higher lows and of course as well higher highs. On our latest run we saw a all-time high, a brand new one at $119, and if you recall some of my previous videos I was targeting $120 to $125. Almost got there, very close, but we didn't get there in the end. I think on the next run, in fact I'm pretty certain on the next run, that if we see Bitcoin continue to, I suppose, keep pace and start moving up in a methodical direction, $120 is absolutely on the cards, and it should be, I suppose, our minimum target moving into the long term. But as I mentioned, this really rests on Bitcoin at the moment. Bitcoin determines the trend of the overall market and therefore affects coins such as Luna as well. Now, looking at the volume side of things, you'll notice, yeah, we have dropped obviously from 119 all the way down to our low of 80, but the volume's not high. That means people aren't dumping. It's just people are uncertain with what's going on in the market at the moment. So as a result, you did have sellers, but people were holding off from buying because they were waiting for the market to reverse and start moving up, because obviously you don't want to buy into a position and then immediately lose money on it. You're going to wait to see if you can pick the bottom before you start getting in. So that's sort of what has been happening at this point in time. So keeping that in mind, let's have a look at the RSI. A lot of sell pressure, and as you can see, that sell pressure really is reflected here in the RSI. We went from an RSI of 68.05, still within our reasonable range, coming, I suppose, close to, of course, our overbought range, but we dropped down to, on the 11th of April, 38.17. So very, very low. And of course, now we're sitting over here at 43.78. So we've got plenty of room to make a rally moving forward. But of course, if we do manage to, I suppose, test this and it is rejected and we start moving back downwards like that, there is room for us to continue this downward move on the RSI. Ideally, once again, I mentioned Bitcoin continues to rise. That will allow Luna to breach these key levels of resistance in order to start moving upwards, but plenty of room for us to do so at this point in time. Let's have a brief look as well at the MACD. Grab that one there. I've accidentally opened something else, but here's the MACD. You can see it looks like the MACD has peaked. So for us, that is looking like we're going to start to see a move upwards in the price within the short term. What we're looking for and where we're going to see a massive spike is, of course, when we see this 12-day EMA, the blue line, cross back above our 26-day EMA, a bit like that, and then we'll start seeing a move. I'll just delete these. There we go. That is ideally what we're hoping to see in the short term. Now, where would that leave us from a price target point of view? Well, ideally, I want to see the $90 mark breached before we see the cross of the 12-day EMA back above the 26-day EMA. That means the target immediately for me is, once we breach this, straight to the $106 mark. If not, worst case scenario, I want to see $100 breach back into the triple digits. Of course, this is exactly where our 20-day moving average is sitting at the moment, but I'm hoping what we see is obviously a move down like that, and then we start moving basically straight back up. I'm expecting maybe we get a bit of resistance, but then we do start moving again. But ideally, we want to see methodical movements in an upwards direction. As long as this long-term uptrend is maintained, or the 200-day moving average at least, then we are still in the clear. So all in all, first target is clearly, of course, $90. Then absolutely the next one is 100. That wraps up today's analysis on Luna, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. Of course, if you did enjoy today's video as well, make sure you do leave a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of this sort of content, hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. I'll leave it there for today, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.